what I was doing, and I mentioned we are having an anti-lockdown rally. And she got quite upset. She said, "Get out of my neighborhood." Obviously, there's a woman who failed history lessons, but that's okay. She's welcome in society anyway, even though you aren't if you haven't taken the experimental injection. Have a good day, folks.
Was not paid, God was the way. She was a girl, left alone, feeling the need to make me alone. I don't know what will I. Twilight of love had a rage, twisting and turning your feelings up, buddy, I'm breaking them down. You know, it's so clever, but now you settle, you're breaking them down.
I'm sorry about that.
The doctor here, he's trying to take over the show.
I just want to say a few words with all of you. I hope that's okay. I hope I didn't interrupt anything.
Yeah, you're not interrupting at all, doctor.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'll be quick. I promise. I'll be quick. Just a moment of your time, please. All right. Hey, thank you, my friend. We're so understanding. I mean, in these troubling times, right?
Go ahead, say your thing.
All right. Thank you very much. Hey everyone. I hope you're having a good day today. My name is Dr. Friend, and I am a white coat lobbyist. I mean, a white coat expert. And I just wanted to ask you guys, what do you guys think of the social distancing? Boo! Right? Boo! What do you guys think of the mask mandates? Boo! What do you guys think of the lockdowns? That's right. Now, what is the one way that we can get back to normal? Anyone? United Compliance. Anyone else? Natural immunity. That's a good one. Now, I had a suggestion. The way we can get back to normal is with a trusted, science-y, somewhat approved vaccine. Who's with me? Who wants a somewhat approved vaccine? Now, I mean, no one hates these mandates more than me, right? And I have a few anecdotes. I'm sure a lot of your lives have been, flipped upside down in the past almost 2 years now. Now, in my house, we have converted our hot water tank, our hot water heater, into a hand sanitizer dispenser. So out of every sink and shower head, we get hand sanitizer that comes out. We do dinner actually in my house over Zoom calls, right? We don't actually sit down anymore. It's a big sacrifice. And we actually have contact tracing in each room of my house. So if we have an outbreak in the kitchen, we can stop it right in the living room, right? So we've all been going through we've all been making a lot of sacrifices, and I would love to just get back to normal. Now, I am a vaccine salesman, a vaccine advocate, and I have a tremendous offer for each and every one of you today, okay? This is the Dr. Friend special, okay? Here I have a COVID-19 vaccine loyalty card, okay? And on your 10th vaccine, you get a free cheesecake. Is that not good? You guys want a free cheesecake? I mean, think of some of the offers you got. What are some of the offers that they have been giving out to people or offering us? Right? Donuts, yeah. Like a pint of beer, I think. Take movie tickets, stuff like this. So yeah, what's that? Yes, ice cream for children, right? Who needs adult consent, right? So yeah, I have a very special offer, like I said. Now with this punch card, okay, Dr. Friend special right here. You can get your Moderna, okay? You can get your G&G, you can get your Astra, and you can get your Pfizer, okay? All mixed into one shot, but you'll get 4 punches off the card. And you'll be 4 punches closer to that cheesecake, huh? Does that not sound like a good deal to you guys? Okay, well, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna go around to each and every one of you in the crowd, and I'll try to convince you, I'll try to sway you a little bit more on the vaccine loyalty card. So, everyone, I hope you have a good time today, and stay sane, stay strong, and stay funny. Have a good one.
Hey guys, you're ready to see Chris Sky today. He's going to be here in an hour or so. Yeah, Chris always raises the spirits. Okay, so it took me a while to figure out what I wanted to speak about today, but I'm thinking there's a big question that I get asked, and other organizers and coordinators get asked, especially as someone who's been doing protests and rallies for almost a year now every week. They say, yeah, we got some people here who come to the flag every week. It's awesome. Hi, Cheryl. So they ask, why are you doing this? What do you think you're accomplishing? They tell me, nothing has changed. This is totally pointless. You're just sitting around having a pointless party. And the people who say that are wrong. And you know what else? When people who criticize, when I ask them for their input, 90% of the time, they just kind of wander away and I can't get in touch with them. Maybe they feel demoralized. But there are several very important things that we're doing with rallies, protests, and we cannot expect a rally to effect direct change. We can't expect that one of these corrupt politicians will look at us, see us in the street and say, oh, I didn't realize some people had a problem with me destroying the country and destroying their rights. I'm just going to change my mind. No, but what we do is we build a community. And we have built an incredible community in Windsor that I think really represents Windsor. And I know other cities and other towns are doing the same thing. And that's why persistence is so important. We go every week, and during the winter when they were telling us we had a stay-at-home order, there were only about max 20 people there at the flag. But we didn't stop. And that really means something. Everybody who's involved keeps going. It keeps their morale up. And so, one of the big points of doing it is raising morale, raising awareness. We raise awareness with speeches just like this, educating each other, and we raise awareness every time we do a march or every time someone walks by and hears these awesome sound systems and stops by to listen, and that's important too. We walk down the street, cars honk, firefighters honk, ambulances do their sirens at us in support. It's incredible. And so that keeps everyone in the city aware that what they're thinking, they're not alone. And it just really matters that we keep like-minded people continuing to speak to each other. We need to have a strong base for this. And it is a jumping off point. It's not magic, but it is a stepping stone. And so the other things that we need to make sure we keep doing, forming relationships, talking to each other, sharing our skills, sharing our hobbies, sharing our insight, and finding ways to spend our energy. Organizing starts at rallies like this. We use rallies like this to tell people about other efforts, especially legal efforts. And that is the most important thing, or at least the most concrete thing, I think that we're doing with these rallies, and it's really starting to get a lot of momentum now, is that we are fundraising. Fundraising for legal efforts. fundraising for lawyers, not to defend ourselves from tickets, because thank goodness we've got Rebel Media and a couple other efforts who are defending us from tickets, defending us from, yeah, way to go Rebel Media. Defending us from summons. I've got 8 or more summons and like 3 tickets, and they're taking care of it for me. Once in a while I get a random police officer at my door saying, oh, here's another summons from back in May. I don't know, maybe the mayor's angry that we're still going. But so we don't need to raise funds for that so much as we can raise funds to go more on the offensive in defending our rights and in changing what they're doing. So, I mean, we've got several legal efforts in Windsor. One of them civil, we're also looking into criminal, because forcing the injection on people, coercing them by threatening people's jobs, that is assault. That's criminal assault. And that everyone needs to understand that. And there are ever more police officers interested in pursuing that and pursuing prosecution for these assaults, especially since police officers are getting this pushed on them now too. And that's why next week in London is going to be so important and such a big deal. London on the 16th. Chris is going to have police officers, and he's going to have, well, lots of first responders from all over the province. And they're going to be selling tons of merch and taking donations to fundraise for a legal effort for the police to have their own lawsuit against the government for what's being pushed on them. Yeah, and once the police are defended, once the police have what would I call it? Have an effort going, have a solid push, other police officers will notice and they'll be more open to, you know, maybe not pushing these draconian measures on people, maybe not enforcing it so much, maybe not being so enthusiastic. And that is fantastic. So, to go over my point today, what is the point of these rallies? Morale, awareness raising, yelling toward other people and speaking to each other. Building the community and building organization, sharing information and pushing people toward further efforts, especially legal efforts, and then that is fundraising. This is a kickoff point for really great action, and we don't need a ton of people to do that action. So we are successful here today, we're successful in Windsor, they're going to be massively successful in London, and things are looking up. It's going to get cold, but we're going to stay warm, and we're going to keep going. So thank you all guys for listening to me today. I'm going to hand it on back to Brandon, I think. And many thanks to Brandon for talking to Chris and having him come down here. This is fantastic. Can't wait to see him.
All right, everybody, we're going to have another speaker come up here. Lynn asked me if she could speak, so please give Lynn a warm welcome as well.
Wake up, Canada! Wake up! I'm a retired registered nurse. I saw red flags right from the beginning. How dare they not treat the side effects of this virus right away? How dare they not help people? We're nurses, we're doctors, our government. What is going on? Wake up! Come together. Unite. We need to unite. Each and every citizen. We need to stand up for their rights. We are Canadian citizens. We are a democracy. Maybe. We need to stand up and be firm. We need to help others. Be kind. Be respectful. I cannot believe how disrespectful our government is to those frontline workers. How did that happen? As the sign says, from hero to zero. Are you kidding me? These people have put their lives on hold. They've been sick themselves. They've gone out of their way. And now they're fired. Our government is destroying lives. Not only those that are being injected, but those who are not. We really need to be firm. We need to be a light to each other. We need to open our arms and spread the word of how our media in Canada is bought. Trudeau said in this supper meeting one evening that the government had spent over $60,000 on the media. So they had better do what he says.
The media is the virus.
Yes, that's right. The media is the virus. And I think the biggest thing that has really upset me the most is our children. My children and grandchildren. How dare they inject these children? These kids are going through multiple changes. Their hormones are changing. Their bodies are changing. And now, because of this injection, they could have heart issues. They could have neurological issues. That could stunt their growth. We have no idea, absolutely no idea. There is no data because people are the experiment. Now that's pretty sick. Cruelty to the animals is something we have always stood up for. Well, what about cruelty to human beings? What is going on? I just want everybody to stand together. Stand strong. Be firm, but be kind. Respect each other. Help each other. We'll get through this. God bless.
Alrighty, good afternoon, everybody. Okay, so I got to do things a little bit differently. Most of you know that I'm very passionate and I speak from the heart. I have to be very selective and very careful with what I say. So I wrote a few things out to make sure I stay within my boundaries. So an introduction, my name is Kirsty Latham. I own Family Kitchen Restaurant here in Leamington. I am a mom of 3 kids. Family Kitchen, we're a small 100-seater diner right up the road, 73 Erie Street. I love Leamington. This is my town. This is my community. This here right now is absolutely amazing. As a kid growing up, I've lived in many different places, but for me, Leamington is my home. I've resided here for 17 years, and like I said, I love the community, and I love all of you, and I love all the people. I love the small town feeling, where you know all your neighbors, where the local businesses, we're not enemies, we help each other. Where your local politicians are also your friends and family. This is what small town strong means. So Family Kitchen is known as the restaurant that defied the lockdown order in the spring. Rumors, man, rumors go around like there's so many rumors. So if you haven't heard things directly from my mouth, chances are it's not factual. So to kind of clear up a few of those facts, we do have 21 charges under the Reopening Act. To this date, they have not been won. Nobody has paid my fines, nobody has paid my tickets. We are still fighting each and every one of them in court. Tickets do not just get thrown out for as of this date, no tickets under the Reopening Act have been thrown out due to a constitutional challenge won. If somebody can give me a name or phone number that has freaking won this, shit, hook me up, man, because, but anyway, so we're still fighting our tickets. We've been to court 9 times. The municipality, as of currently, so we're operating as a takeout facility only. The municipality suspended our business license. We have a 60-day suspension on our business license, and it was given to us as a conditional business license to operate as a takeout facility only. Okay, we're good? Okay, so, where was I at? Okay, but everything though that has happened in the last 6 months though, this isn't who, let's get the feedback. This isn't who Family Kitchen is. Yes, we stood against the lockdown order, but Family Kitchen, we're that small restaurant that's home, where everybody can feel safe, everybody is welcome, there's no discrimination. So I really wish that could be our reputation rather than the divide in this town, the hatred that happens. Everybody needs to stop the divide. So I've spoken to I'm going to be, on behalf of restaurants, I've spoken to many different people, and there's so many people that are saying, oh no, we're going to boycott this restaurant if they enforce, if they enforce the V-Pass, stop. You're letting the big objective, you're letting the big plan win. So myself, the amount of support that I do have, right? We're well known in the media. Everybody seems to know who Family Kitchen is. 3 weeks we've been open for takeout only. Sales are shit. The support ain't there. Sorry guys, I love each and every one of you, but 75% of people walking in my door walk right back out because I can't dine in. So that being said, if I didn't have a suspension on my business license right now, and I was given a choice, do I let these hundreds of dollars of sales walk out my door right now? Or, 80% of them might be able to still dine in, or do I implement it? There's gonna be many restaurant owners that are enforcing this that don't believe in it, that don't at all, but they have no choice. People are so quick to say, oh, just stand up. If everybody stands up, dude, I stood up. Where did it get me? Absolutely nowhere. So all I'm saying is I'm not talking like this for anybody to feel sorry or anything like that, but just before you get angry at another restaurant or another business, just be kind. Be kind. You don't understand the pressure. And I'll take that back. I don't want to use the word don't understand, but the pressure that the restaurant owners are under, kill them with kindness. I do have one positive so bylaw enforcement has been into my establishment 74 times in the last 6 months, and one thing that is on that disclosure that I'll share, and every single one of them can vouch for it, I've been utmost respectful. You be respectful and you be kind, you can still stand up and still be nice and treat somebody else as a human being. So with that is going to be the basis of my speech right now, to make sure that I'm staying within my conditions that are upon me. So my message is nothing but positive at the moment, and don't let the divide, man. Don't divide. Thank you, everybody.
Hello, Leamington. Come on, let's hear some energy from you. Freedom! Who likes freedom? Every one of you here, I presume, is here for the same thing. It's what I just said. Freedom. Freedom! We're at a critical time in history right now. Depending what you believe in, we're at a point in time some might call Armageddon. There are forces at play, whether we believe it or not. They're evil. They are working to control every one of our hearts and minds. They want to have you as part of their system. And I know everyone here does not want to be part of that system. You want to be an individual, free citizen of this free country that we live in, that our ancestors fought and died for us to maintain that freedom. I'm not giving it up. I'm maintaining my bodily autonomy. Regardless of what that might be, it's my choice. And it's every one of your choices. I'm not going to go over data. I'm not going to go over the things we already know. Everyone here should already know the lies the mainstream tells us. I just want to relay my personal story. I'm a Jew. My parents don't know what the Nuremberg Code is. But that's not what I want to talk about. My grandparents were rich. They owned lots of land. They had cattle. My grandfather was funded by his parents to go on vacations every summer because he did a good job. He'd travel by horseback, and they'd be able to afford all the things their heart desired. And then one day, some rules and regulations came in to Romania, Transylvania. That's where my grandfather's from. They swept across all of Europe, not just Romania. But these rules and regulations were under the guise of health and safety. You see, the Third Reich had an idea that there was a subhuman class. They happened to be the Jews, and there were some other people that fell in that category. But most people that lived in Romania, in Germany, Poland, and a lot of these other places, they couldn't fathom the idea that a fellow human could do some of the atrocities that we now know happen. It just couldn't be possible. Sure, you might think someone is a dirty Jew, but I mean, you wouldn't kill them or hurt them. But the thing about propaganda is it works wonders on our minds. They can fool your neighbor who used to bring you a meatloaf, maybe trade for some of the herbs you had in your garden and have a conversation. Slowly, or I should say more rapidly over time, those neighbors stopped doing commerce with their fellow neighbors. They stopped having conversations. They were told not to. It's not good to speak to subhuman class of people. So, of course, in order for them not to be punished, they slowly backed away and started viewing other people as a subclass of humans. Kind of similar to masked versus unmasked, or vaccinated versus unvaccinated. Soon to be health passport or no health passport. I keep telling people that post pictures with orange flags or orange shirts behind them, or a black screen, or a Pray for Paris, you're doing nothing. You're patting yourself on the back. It's a virtue signal. We are all Jews to the government. We're all Indian.
Hi, baby.
We're all black. We are all subhuman to the upper class echelon, the elite government bodies and ones that control them. And I think we recognize that now. They have pushed the envelope so far that it should be blatantly obvious to every single soul here today that they are here for your life and your children's lives. They want to extinguish the life and the soul that God has provided each and every one of you to be here at this point in time in history to fight this tyranny and oppression that we are under. The time for being a toy soldier and posting selfies is over. It does nothing. There's internet censorship. If you're being blocked or censored for something, you're doing something right. We don't need armchair quarterbacks. I think that's what you call it. I stopped watching sports. There is nothing else left other than our freedom. But the time to be an armchair quarterback is over. It does nothing for yourself, it does nothing for our community, and it definitely does not serve the younger generation who are about to be put under the knife or literal syringe of tyranny. I'm going to reiterate what I mentioned yesterday. On Friday, there was a mobile vaccine clinic, as I'm sure you've heard. They're rolling around to schools, trying to jab our children without parental consent. That's right, boo! They believe that parents might know the right thing and the right way to raise their children as long as they conform to their ideal. I know. My mother was a teacher, grade 3 teacher, and a great grade 3 teacher at that. There are good teachers and there are people who teach for a paycheck. And those people, good and bad, are trying to coerce our children for what they believe is right in order to have a poison death shot plunged into their body and extinguish whatever hope and future that that child has. There's an 80% chance they won't be able to have children when and if the time ever comes that they reach that age. And I don't think they will if they accept these shots. That's everybody's choice, but when will it end? Everybody here has a soul that God provided you. Whether you believe in God or not, there was a long period of time I did not. I was raised, as I said, Jewish. I had a bar mitzvah. But I let all of those things go, and I even shook my fist at God and using choice words throughout the course of my life, growing up. I thought it was fun, I thought it was funny. It felt powerful. It felt like I was God, like I could control whatever I wanted myself. As I got older, and more recently, through this freedom movement, starting in Windsor, and the Church of God showed up to help support our crew and freedom in our town. And I thought, I'll show up in Leamington, Wheatley here at the Church of God just to support them. And Family Kitchen as well. What a great restaurant. Yeah. Awesome food. So I showed up at the Church of God just to support them, and little did I know, it sparked something inside my heart. God was with me the entire time. I shut him out. I stopped listening. But now, for the last 6 months since I've been going to a church, a Christian church, by the way, I am Jewish, but I've been going to a Christian church, I can tell when there are people who are being genuine or people who are trying to pull the wool over my eyes. Right? The people at the Church of God here are genuine and believe in God and the power of God, Jesus Christ. My point as a Jew, and like I said, we are all the same. My heart has grown immensely since I allowed God back in my life. I wouldn't be able to speak here on a stage in front of people other than the fact that I know I'm doing the right thing. That's what's keeping me and putting me up here, is I know that I and all of us here are doing the right thing. We are doing God's chosen work. Whether you realize it or not yet, you are all charged under God and his commission to bring freedom and God and love back to Canada. Because it is, our flag is upside down right now. That flag should be upside down. We are in great distress. But if every one of you finds that courage in your soul that God gave you, you have it whether you know it or not. You find it, and you find it now, please. Our children's lives are in danger. They are coming to the schools. Your parental consent does not matter. Even if you think with a bellowing voice and you told the principal they better not, it does not matter. They will plunge your child and coerce them into making that adult choice, and there's nothing you'll be able to do after that happens. Not a thing. They are going after the 5-year-olds or 4-year-olds and up, if they turn 5 in 2021. They are hitting the schools and trying to indoctrinate the younger ones to be prepared for next month when they come for them. It is the hardest decision, I understand. I know people don't want to give up the things they've accumulated in life. The mortgage they have, the work and time they put in school to get to the position they have. I promise you, as a descendant of a rich Jew who had everything and then had nothing, all of those things that you built up, they matter not. The mortgage will mean nothing if you're dead or sick, because nobody is liable for these jabs. You will become sick, and who is going to take care of those young children? Who is going to pay the mortgage when you can't pay it anymore? You can't go to work. Who's going to pay it? Who's going to pay for your medication? Not your work. Not the government, that's for sure. And definitely not the pharmaceutical companies that have indemnification from the very government that provides us with their poison death shots. I encourage people to look up Dr. Zelenko. There are many, many, many doctors out there speaking the truth. They're censored. You have to find them on alternative media sources. But if I can leave with just one last thing and reiterate my point, everybody here, including myself, needs to find their souls. Find it. Find the courage. You don't sit there and wait for your next door neighbor. You don't tell your husband, let somebody else fight for freedom. You don't tell your wife, and it is more women that are doing this fighting than men, by the way. I am disappointed in the men. Thank you, ladies. You have courage. We all need to find our souls, and we need to find them quick. We need to find that courage. It is time to stop waiting for somebody else to do it, to go into the store without a mask, to go and sit down at a restaurant. Whatever it is, small or large, everybody has a role to play. Sitting on the sidelines is over unless you want to be a slave. If you want freedom, you all have to make the hard choice. Putting up a selfie has never been hard. That's the easy choice. The hard choice is going against the establishment narrative and fighting with your whole soul that God provided. And if you think your soul is not full enough to do it, ask God, and I promise you, your cup will run over. My name is Steve from Windsor. I love you all. I love freedom and my family. And now, before all of you, for the first time ever, I'm letting you know I love God. Now, as we get ready for the main speaker, who's going to give you some action plans. He can lay out the plan. I just want your hearts to be full and charged up and ready for the battle that we are about to be in. And it is the greatest battle of all time. Thank God that you're here for it. Why be around during the boring times of the last decade? Whoop-de-doo, you can play video games. This is much, much, much better. Thank all of you for coming. thank you for taking the time. Thank you for finding the courage. And please, build it and grow and know that you always have support.
Hello, all you pro-freedom, pro-Canadian, let's get back to our way people. So, my name is Jenny May. I can be a little loud on social media, but they like to ban me. So last time I was up, I was off on a ban, and this time I'm on a ban. So if anybody wants to reach out, I think they still let me do Messenger. I think. So far, so good. So, I don't know about anybody else. This feels like the longest 2 weeks I've ever experienced in my whole life. Anybody else there? So we all know what's going on, and we all know that the vaccine passports are here. And to quote our lovely Prime Minister, as of mid-November, enforcement measures are in place to make sure that every Canadian is vaccinated. Mid-November. So, sorry guys, sometimes I get a little emotional. My story, I was a nurse that was targeted last year. I worked in long-term care. I worked in a long-term care that got hit really hard. And through paper, I saw a lot of people that I loved and cared for a long time succumb to this. Now, those were elderly individuals, pre-existing conditions, etc., and so on, a bad flu, you know. So I became a target because immediately I saw that rights were being taken away, families were being ostracized and segregated, division was starting right off the bat. I was getting pulled in for a $10 bill because I said maybe Trudeau should carry this. And if any of you have a $10 bill, look what it says. Number 15, no one is above the law. I got pulled in. I got threatened with my job. I was masked, I was swabbed, I felt like cattle going to work every day. And due to health issues that I have with respiratory, asthma, allergies, I had to go off work in September because of the severe calcification I have now in my sinus cavity. I have difficulties still to this day. I've spoken a few times, and I know I'm usually a little bit more hyper and a little bit more comical, but the severity and the seriousness, I think, hit a lot of us this week. How quickly social media got cut off, eh? How quickly were we completely disconnected from a lot of people we've been coming to rely on for support, because not all of us are in environments where we have that, and it was gone. How quickly our Fed came in and said, as of October 30th, you have boundaries, Canadians. And a lot of people have been waking up because of it. I'm not going to talk about the passports, like I said. What I'm going to talk about is, and it's been a repetitive theme today, reach out, get support, find your communities, and make sure that you have people that you can rely on if you need it. It is a scary time. This is not right. And unfortunately, people think that because there's such a high percentage of people that have undergone this treatment, that they're supporting all the mandates being pushed forward, and I just can't believe that's true, and I know it's not true. Because people, as much as they did get this treatment, they're not for what's being pushed. The numbers are not showing accurately how many people are against these measures. I'm lucky I have groups of friends and family and close people that we are a mix of sides, if you want to call it, of those that have received it because they were coerced and they thought they had no choice. And a lot of people, unfortunately, no matter how legal or illegal everything's happening, it's still happening. They don't care. And I feel for you. And the more they're closing in the gaps, more people are starting to wake up and realize that this is wrong. And those are people that we have to be there for too. People make mistakes, people learn late, people realize after. Some of us were lucky to kind of get on the bandwagon a little bit early and see the signs of where we were going. But now we have to help those that are realizing where we are. Start preparing. Like I said, if anyone out there, I met an individual today This person has very, very limited support. 3 friends and a hubby. She has no one else. She's lost her job. She's been let go. If you are like this individual, anybody that's been on this stage today, anybody that's got a freedom shirt on, if you need help, you need support, you just need to feel like a sense of community again that they've tried to strip us from, reach out to any of us. We are here for you. We will help you. We will be put you in touch with people that are close to your home base. Don't let them take the humanity from us. They're trying to take everything else. Don't let them take our humanity. They're going after our babies. I don't know if anybody of you saw the Roseville school issue this week. I got banned because I had a picture of the undercover vehicle that they're using. And I know some of you saw it and it's gone viral a little bit in messages, and I hope it does. And I sent out a warning saying, parents, this is what the vehicle looks like. If it's around your child's school, they are there. And unfortunately, I used the word JAB, so the algorithm picked up on me, and I'm usually smarter than that. And within moments, I was banned because I told parents, watch your babies. No long-term effects are known. If they tell you they know that, they're lying. And long-term isn't 6 months. Long-term is 10, 20, 30, 40. How long did it take for them to realize lead paint was horrible? Okay, asbestos. So, I'm not going to go on and on and on. I know that the big deal is going to be here soon. I had points to kind of say, because I get scattered sometimes, I'm sorry. So, pro-unity, pro-freedom, pro-community, pro-Canada, pro-rights, pro-Bill of Rights, pro-Constitution, pro-Public Health Act. Unfortunately, one of my favorite, I like expressions, and people who know me, if I don't mess them up, because sometimes they go backwards, but the ones I really like, I always get right. There's a saying that says it's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is for permission. It's like when we're kids. You're late, don't call mom. You're going to hear it then, you're going to hear it when you get home, you're just going to hear it a couple times. And that's what the government's doing to us. So hopefully, as it has in the past, we are on the right side. Is the road going to be hard? You know, I usually have a really bad mouth. F yeah. It's going to be a little longer of a road than we want, but I have faith in humanity that the more this goes on, the more of us start to wake up and realize that this cannot happen to us. And no matter what, we have to be there for each other at whatever phase we are and whatever phase somebody else is, at waking up from being woke, and also helping them with certain, if they're scared, they've had the treatment, they want help, they want to see if there's anything they can do, they want to see if there's anything that can help them, send them to people that can help them. Get connections, get community. There are people out there. There are supplements. Build your immune system. And like I said, most important thing for me right now, I got to take care of my own. I got to take care of my people. I want to make sure that I've got support. So when things do hit the fan, there's strength in numbers. I have a multitude of resources. I know quite a few people in the area that can help with various things. Business owners, if you're out there, if you want to get into a network that can help you out, maybe, come find me. I'll be floating around, look for the white hat, big mouth, I don't know, find me. I'm not that hard to find. And like I said, reach out, okay? I feel like I'm starting to repeat things, so I don't want to be up here and repeat things. I don't have any jokes offhand because I'm a little too slow and really thinking about jokes. But to anybody out there that is scared, has fear, we're all here for you. Don't let them win. Okay?
up, Mud?
Alright, a warm Leamington welcome for Chris Scott! Hello, Leamington! Sorry we're a little late. We drove all the way from Owen Sound. We were in Peterborough yesterday, had to go to Owen Sound last night, and we came here today. It was maybe like big on the way up here, but of course, we made it, the sun has to be shining. It looks like everybody's having a great day. All I see are smiles and happy people, and this is fantastic. It's the kind of energy we need. But I have a lot of bad news to tell you guys, and I don't know if you guys have heard of it yet. First of all, yeah, don't get used to it. That's what they want. Once you get used to it, then the new normal becomes the normal. And that's exactly what we don't want. These vaccine passports are the biggest threat to our liberty and our children's future since the inception of Canada. And every single day, Trudeau comes up with more draconian measures. I don't know if you heard yesterday, but now you can't even get an organ transplant if you're not vaxxed. You can't go to get your PAL for your gun license if you're not vaxxed. As of October 30th, you cannot get on a plane to train without your vaccine passport, according to our illustrious leader. In fact, I even called private jet charter companies who have told me, even if I spend $50,000 for a plane for just me and a pilot, they are still required by federal mandate to not allow me to fly unless I'm jabbed. And now we know we can't drive to the States unless we're jabbed. So as of October 30th, each and every Canadian citizen who is unvaccinated is now a prisoner in their home country. Let that sink in, ladies and gentlemen. Let that sink in real deep, and it means a lot more than you think. That's how it started with Australia. You couldn't leave the country. And guess what's coming next? Remember we had those interprovincial checkpoints? Well, they're coming back. And only this time, they're going to require a vaccine passport to go through. So now, you're not only a prisoner in your country, you're a prisoner in your home province. Ladies and gentlemen, the only reason we're not in Australia right now is that we're still in our summer months. Look, we're in wonderful weather. Australia is well into their winter, and that's why they're already at the stage where they cannot go more than 5 kilometers away from their home. They're at the stage where they're forced to download the COVID Safe app, where they have to take a selfie to show the government that they're at home like good little slaves. They already endorsed the policy, no jab, no work. Where do you think it's headed from there, ladies and gentlemen? Do you think it's going to stop, or do you think it's going to get worse? They already want to jab your 5 to 12-year-olds, and as of 2022, they're going to want your 6-month-olds. Even though Moderna just admitted, we can't give the vaccine to the 18s to 35-year-olds anymore because it's giving them myocarditis. There's a condition, by the way, that 1 out of 3 people will die within 5 years. And they're doing this to your children, so your children can play hockey, or so your children can go to school, or so you can go to work. And I want to tell you something. I was talking to some police officers, and there was a police officer steadfastly against these mandates. She wrote her superiors a letter. And they told her, well, you have a choice. It's not mandatory. Your choice is you don't take the jab and you go on indefinite unpaid leave, meaning you're fired. And you were not allowed to collect any type of benefits. So you get fired without pay, no benefits, and you can put in a precarious position to try to find another form of employment, or you choose to take the jab. Not much of a choice, especially by the definition of informed consent, which is in our Bill of Rights, our Charter of Rights, in the UN International Covenant on Human Rights, but of course our government doesn't care. So this woman, this police officer, this service member, was forced to take the jab against her will and against her own best interests. She took it. Surprise, surprise. Within days, she developed myocarditis, one of the most common adverse reactions to the vaccine. So common so that Moderna is now banned in multiple countries for anybody under 30. Just like AstraZeneca got banned in every other country for virtually everybody. Notice how they tell you it's safe, then you inject you with it, and then when you get sick, they tell you, oh, shit, our bad. Maybe you shouldn't be using it. You guys are the experiment. And this lady got experimented on, and she became a casualty. And guess what? WSIB told her, go pound sand. We're not giving you a goddamn dollar because that vaccine was not mandatory. That's how they treat a police officer. How do you think they're going to treat you? So then I digged into this a little deeper, and I found out they're keeping all the police officers and all the service members in line by holding their pensions over their head. A government insider told me those pensions have been raided for things like pandemic pay, for things like this phony election that we just had to distract you all from the implementation of the vaccine passport. So these servicemen and women don't even have the pension waiting for them that they think they do. And the best part is, now that we have the vaccine passport, they're making it digital next month. You all know that, right? And they want you to download this little app. So you're going to download an app on your phone, and that thing's going to remind you every day, hey, you got to get vaccinated in 30 days. Hey, you got to get vaccinated in 10 days. And if you don't, you're no longer fully vaccinated, because that's a misnomer. There's no such thing. Because every time you get your vaccine, they tell you within 4 to 6 months, you're going to need another one. Forever. And that's how they keep you in this state where you have no rights and freedoms, and you need permission from the government to even go to work or go to school. And they can force you to take an injection. What's stopping them from forcing you to take a pill, a blood test, etc., etc.? Answer? Nothing but your compliance. Think about that. So I've been talking to these servicemen and servicewomen, and they are fed up, and they were lied to by their superiors. And the next step to this, and I want everybody to realize that, is a digital currency. I know most of you have never even heard of it. You think of Bitcoin and you think it's like a joke. Well, if you go to the central bank website right now, there's a job offer for whoever wants to create a central bank digital currency. And the reason they want this is because your digital currency will be tied to your digital vaccine passport and your digital identity. And now, when that little thing tells you, oh, you've got 3 days to get vaccinated. If you don't, you lose access to your money until you do. It's complete compliance and complete control. They're going to add another little tidbit to your new currency that you're not going to like. Rather than gaining interest like you can when you put your money in a bank, your new digital currency is going to expire over time. So you have no choice but to keep spending everything you make, or it's just going to vanish. And here's the best part. For all of you old timers that think, oh, I worked 35 years, I'm just going to give them the finger and go retire and collect my pension. Your pension is going to be rolled into the digital currency. And they're going to tell you the only way you're eligible for it is if you take the jab. Now, why do they want everybody to comply to the jab? Because it is the nullification of your God-given rights and freedoms that millions of people fought, bled, and died for. So they need you to give it up to them. And they're trying to do it without a fight. They're trying to do it without a gun to your head. They're trying to make you give it up. And they're coercing you in every way possible. Oh, we're going to take away your job. Oh, we're going to make it so you can't travel. Oh, we're going to make it so you can't go to school. Do you understand? And just 2 months ago it was, oh, here's an ice cream cone or a donut or a lottery ticket if you're a good citizen and get the vaccine. Now it's, you're not getting on a bus, a train, or being able to leave the country or go to work. What do you think is next, ladies and gentlemen? Do you understand where this is going? If you don't, you got big problems. Thankfully, our servicemen and women did. They reached out to me. And there's big controversy about this. The London Police Department even went on Twitter and said, no, we're not endorsing this. Obviously they're going to say that, but I know dozens of police officers within their ranks agree with me. You know how I know? They called me, and they said, Chris Stein, we need your help. And I said, what do you want to do? They said, we want to stop these mandates, we want to uphold the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and we want to live our lives as free people. I said, well, congratulations, that's exactly what I want. Let me see what I can do. So I put out the message, the SOS for the London Police, to over 2,000 active duty police officers around Ontario that all have these same views. Because I'm connected with them in various group chats through various liaisons. I sent the message out to thousands of first responders, thousands of teachers, airline workers, to every freedom group around Ontario and told them we need to go to London, Ontario, Saturday, October 16th. We're having a massive event that's Ontario and beyond wide, and it's a fundraising event for the police. And as we speak, we are finding them legal representation to file an injunction against these tax passes and file a legal challenge against the government. This is your servicemen and women, ladies and gentlemen. So we're calling the event the Back the Blue event. And the shirt I'm wearing right here is a special edition merchandise shirt. I've never made any of these before. And I'm donating 1,500 of these shirts and 1,500 hoodies like this. Yes, those cost me almost $50,000, and we're donating them that day. Because every single person that goes there, at the very least, is going to buy one of those shirts or those hoodies until they're all gone. And that's going to generate 6 figures. And that money is going to go to the law firm that's going to represent your police who are representing you. And they're bloody terrified of it. They know that people are coming from far and wide, so they're trying to discredit it. They're trying to discredit me. That's why I wore the shirt today. That's why I brought about 100 or so of these today, so we can get them going around town, and everybody knows that next week is a big event. We're doing a convoy from dawn. I want every city, every organizer in every city around Ontario to organize their own convoy and get out to London for Saturday, October 16th at 12 p.m. It's the most important event, and it's going to show the entire world that we have solidarity, we have unity, and we're speaking loudly in one voice, and we're just saying no. But it doesn't stop there, ladies and gentlemen. I know that's not going to be enough to stop these people. I know what their intent is. I know what they plan on doing to us. So on the 23rd, I'm heading back to Windsor, first of all. I have to say, that was my favorite rally that I've done in Canada. I can't even lie. So that's why I promised them I'd come back before I went on tour. And I was supposed to go on tour that week. And I postponed the tour just so I could go to Windsor. And now we're going to be leaving on tour right after the Windsor event on October 23rd. And where are we going? We're going all the way west as far as Vancouver Island. We're going to have about 12 or 15 stops, including in Saskatchewan, Alberta, and BC. I'm going to be posting them online. But we have 2 world-changing events that are Canada-wide during this year that we need to talk about. We need to get everybody on board with. The first one, and you guys are going to love the name of this one, we're calling it the Rosa Parks Challenge. Haters bring it. And guess what? She'd be sitting right there beside me telling you to kiss her bloody ass. And what are we doing? Well, on October 30th, Trudeau has warned us that all of us will no longer be able to get on a plane, train, bus, ferry, streetcar, subway, unless we're jabbed. Well, I say, screw you, Trudeau. So, he was stupid enough to make that mandate on a Saturday when every freedom fighter around the country is already meeting at places like this, in every town and city across the country. He also was dumb enough to do it the day before Halloween, where everyone's going to show up in costume and be far more brazen and confident. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to meet on October 30th in every town and city. I'm actually going to be in Vancouver, Surrey at that time. But every town and city around Canada is going to be like we are today. But instead of listening to speaker after speaker after speaker, you're going to listen to one speaker, and you're going to break up into groups, and each one of you is going to go to a different subway station, a different bus station, a different train station, a different ferry, and you're going to occupy every public sector transport vehicle possible. And we're going to sit there like Rosa Parks did, and we're going to demand to be served, and we're going to demand no discrimination. And for the idiots out there that say, oh, Rosa Parks was black, that was something she couldn't change. You're not choosing to get a vaccine, so it's okay to discriminate you because you're choosing this. Oh, okay, so I'm going to discriminate against somebody who's 400 pounds who wants to sit next to me on the bus because it was their choice and they're infringing on my personal space. Or I'm going to discriminate against the person that chooses a different gender identity because, they chose it, so it's okay to discriminate. No, discrimination is discrimination, and there's no place for that in Canada. Period. And it doesn't become okay because Justin Trudeau said so. Who the hell is Justin Trudeau? He is a friggin' bastard love child of probably the biggest whore who ever lived, his mother. And I will say
She was.
Everybody, Justin Trudeau's mom was a whore.
Yes, she was.
You think I'm wrong? You know why she was famous? I'm going to get it out there. This is what she was famous for. Besides doing LSD and sex parties in the 70s, she made headlines when she had an affair on Trudeau's daddy, the biggest beta male of all time, with Keith Richards and the Rolling Stones.
Yep.
And it became national scandal. You can look this up. And they tried to sweep it under the rug. They tried to get past it. And then you know what she did? She went and had sex with Mick Jagger of the Rolling Stones. This is Trudeau's mommy, okay? This is where he came from. So if you're wondering why he's a weakling, look at his dad. If you're wondering why he's a whore, look at his mom. Sorry, I tell the truth. If he doesn't like it, he can kiss my ass. Yeah, that's I don't know. Let's just say he looks a lot more and acts a lot more like Fidel Castro than he does Pierre Trudeau. And we're going to teach him a lesson on October 30th with the Rosa Parks Challenge. We're going to teach him that Canadians run this country, not Justin Trudeau. And if that isn't enough, I got something else in my pocket. November 6th. Sunday, November 6th, to be exact. I'm going to be in Calgary at that time. So if you notice, the 3 biggest events of lockdown are going to be happening in 3 separate provinces. Why? Because this is all about uniting Canada together. And what are we going to do on November 6th? This is the most potent and deadly thing we could do to the government and their cronies that work with them. In particular, the airlines. None of this could be happening without the complicity of the airlines and without the government buying them off with our money. You understand that? So on November 6th, we only have 4 major airports in this entire country. Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, and Calgary. And we're going to descend upon them with massive convoys of cars and trucks and patriots. And we're going to gum up their system so bad that they're not going to even be able to resend flights to the other Canadian airports. We will cost them billions of dollars in damages. To the point where the airlines are going to say, call up Trudeau and say, I know you paid us $1.2 billion to screw over the Canadian public, but we just lost that in 24 hours. And I don't think the government's going to be willing to pay them that kind of money once a week, every week. So if they want to do that, we'll do that every single friggin' week until these airlines go broke, until Trudeau loses. Because the airline people do not like this either. Do you think the pilots who've been working 30 plus years want to be jabbed so they can get a blood clot and die? Just so they can push an agenda for the elite? No, they don't. And they know better. There's ample evidence that shows people that fly often have a chance of an adverse reaction to the vaccine. And they're not even vaccines. I keep calling them that because people understand it. But you have to understand, these are not vaccines. These are experimental gene therapy injections with dastardly consequences of which nobody knows. Nobody! That's why all of a sudden they can say, oh, we're pausing the use of this one. That's government speak for, oh my God, there's so many people getting injured and killed by this that we're not going to be able to cover it up. So let's ban it, but we'll call it a pause. And then after a few months, we'll just not restart it. That's called a ban, ladies and gentlemen. So stop listening to what the government says and start paying attention to what they do. And it's always two different things. But they made a big mistake. They made a big mistake. They underestimated the Canadian people. And I know that because their plan was to pull all of this over our eyes without any resistance, without anybody being awake. They thought they could ostracize people like me, run hit pieces on me, silence me, discredit me, etc. But the exact opposite happens, because I'm telling the truth. So every time I tell the truth and they run a hit piece on me, people that didn't even know who the hell I was will Google me. And it takes about 3 minutes to watch one of my videos to realize that I'm telling the truth and the government's full of crap. So now we got to the point where I literally can't even be at a red light without someone wanting to come out of the car and take my picture. You know what that tells me? It tells me that Canadians are awake. Canadians are aware. And Canadians are ready for action. Because that's the only way this ends, ladies and gentlemen. I call it United Non-Compliance. Everybody knows this. I broke it down in my book into 3 separate phases. And my book is wonderful. I don't know if you guys know, I wrote a book, by the way. It was supposed to be sold on Amazon. They gave me a publishing distribution deal. It was fantastic. I was so excited. I'm like, I'm going to be a best-selling Amazon author, and I'm going to tell everybody. But guess what? The day before it was, 2 days before it was supposed to go on sale, I got arrested and charged with a multitude of ridiculous crimes. I'm currently, if you want to know, on 8 separate bails and been arrested 14 times in the last 15 or 16 months. That's how scared they are of just me talking to you. That's why I have to stand up here and I can't come down there with you, unfortunately. One of my conditions is you guys got to keep socially distanced from me. So even after I'm done talking, even after you grab all the merch and you want to come see me, we actually have to line up like we're in high school or something for my personal safety. Not from COVID, from the overreach of our ridiculous tyrannical government. And this is only going to get worse if we don't stand up now. And what is United Non-Compliance, ladies and gentlemen? It's everybody coming together, regardless of all the different ways they try to divide us, and in one giant voice, just saying no. But in order for that to happen, we need to go through the phases. And the very first phase of United Non-Compliance was the global awakening. 2020, the evolution of the human consciousness, where people like me and other people like me spoke all around the world and woke you all up to the reality that this has nothing to do with your health and safety and everything to do with control. It's that simple. That's phase 1 of United Non-Compliance, making people understand that. And they do. Look around the world. You see millions and millions of people in the streets crying out for freedom. So the message has woken people up. The message is catching on. And now we're in the middle of phase 2 of United Non-Compliance, taking action. And it's the most important one, because through taking action on an individual and collective basis is how we're going to get our freedoms back. It's not with a politician. It's not with an election. We already proved that with the phony election we just had, where the majority of freedom fighters tried to back someone called the PPC, and I warned you, A, they're full of crap, B, they're not going to get a seat, and C, he's a globalist shill. And yes, exactly. He used to work with George Soros way back in 2008. I'm talking about Maxime Bernier, by the way. And here's the best indication of how full of shit they are. Where are they now? I've been to multiple events since the election, all over the place, and I'm going on tour, but they can't. You know why? No election means no money. No money means you don't matter. You understand that? Otherwise, where are they? Why aren't the PPC at all these freedom rallies trying to rally the people? They don't care. Why didn't they give you any solutions? They don't care. Why didn't they endorse United Non-Compliance? Very simple. It takes the power away from the politicians and gives it to the people. So what politician is going to endorse a solution that makes them irrelevant? Answer, they're not. They're just going to lead you astray, give you false hope, make you worry about the election instead of worry about the vaccine passport, and voila, here we are today. So this is at phase 2 of United Non-Compliance, taking action. And we know how to take action. I showed you about the events we're going to do. So now I'm going to teach you how to beat the vaccine passport. Very simple. Rule number 1 when dealing with vaccine passports: never disclose your vaccination status. Not to your job, not to your government, not to the police, not to your gym, not to the restaurant, not to anybody. That's it. That's rule number 1. And look, it worked for the NBA stars. As soon as they did it, all of a sudden they're allowed to come into Canada, whether they're jabbed or not. Funny how that works. When you stand up for yourself, you can retain your rights and freedoms. Imagine that. And that's all you have to do. So there's other ways we can do this. You guys all saw I walked into LA Fitness. The day the vaccine passport became mandatory. I showed up with about 150 people. I walked in and I said, I am not disclosing my vaccination status. That's between me and my doctor. And they said, well, then none of you can come in. I said, well, we didn't sign any contract that said we'd be disclosing medical information. So if you would like to illegally cancel mine and about 100 other contracts and face a breach of contract suit, by all means. You know what they said? Thank you. They said, come on in. Even the people that didn't have memberships were buying day passes and walking in. And that's what it's all about, freedom of choice. If you want to be a lemming, if you want to be an idiot and give out your information, or want to give me your bank account information, go right ahead. Doesn't mean I'm going to do it, doesn't mean anybody should be required to do it. And that's what I did there. What do you do at a restaurant? Here we go. The best place to try this is a mall, because it's like baby steps. You can go to any mall without a mask, just claim medical exemption. You can walk into any food court in the mall and buy food, but as soon as you take that food and attempt to sit down, now all of a sudden you're an illegal criminal that needs to be enforced upon, because you need your vaccine passport. If that sounds ridiculous to you, it's because it is. And the reason they want you to go along with shit that you know is ridiculous is because it diminishes your self-respect every time and makes you more easy to manipulate the next time. So instead of being a manipulated person, why don't you take charge, buy your food, walk by their security and say, I'm going to sit down, and sit down. What are they going to do, call the cops? I've done this at 4 malls. They didn't call the cops on me once. And for people that did get the cops called on, what can they do? Are you trespassing when you paid for the food that you are now eating in the food court? I don't think so. So it's all about causing problems. Canadians want to believe, oh, we don't want to be a hassle. We don't want confrontation. Canadians will do almost anything to avoid confrontation. Even putting a mask on their children and abusing them, for instance. Absolutely disgusting. Complete child abuse. And other countries are laughing at us, and it's disgusting. But this is how you get by that. You do these little things that make a difference. You provoke confrontation, because this is what we need. If you don't confront them, it's acquiescence, and they're going to keep going. So you have to stop it here. Go to a restaurant, a nice restaurant. They don't want to let you in, try to be nice. Try to talk to them. Show them a fake. This is what one of my friends did. He has a vaccine passport on his phone that when they ask him to show his QR code, he shows them a picture of Braveheart that's screaming freedom. And surprisingly, he says, 8 out of 10 times it works. And the people just let him in. So try something like that first. Try to make it light. Try to make it funny. Try to make a joke of it, because it is a friggin' joke. And if the restaurant owner or the business owner is cool and they let you in, boom, you just created a safe zone. You're a friggin' hero. And if they're not, if they're dicks, well then say, guess what? I'm gonna provoke a confrontation. I'm not leaving. Sit down, I wanna order my food, and you can call the police. Let them call the police. When the police come, if they wanna give you a fine for the vaccine passport, take it. You want the fine. That's how we kill it. How do you think I got rid of the hotel quarantine? Remember that? It's like a bad memory now. But when we had it, they were never planning on getting rid of it. The only reason we got rid of it, there's one reason. I made a little video walking through an airport, teaching you how to stand up for yourself and asserting your rights, and teaching you how to deal with their fake fines. And when I showed people that, I did it myself, it was just non-compliance. Congratulations, it worked for me, but we still had a hotel quarantine the next day. But, when everybody else did it, when Canadians united and started going on the plane and telling other people on the plane, you know you can avoid the quarantine, and then entire groups of people on the plane started doing it, guess what? We overloaded the system with fines. My friend got his court date back and said 2030. All right? And those fines, they expire after 2 years, and they don't hold up in court anyway. So, is anyone going to get those fines? Absolutely not. And then what happened? They just made up an excuse and said, oh, we don't need the hotel quarantine anymore. No, you know what happened? Canadians just said no. And that's what happened. And that's what we had to do with the Vax Pass. They want to fine us? That's what the Rosa Parks Challenge is all about. Getting millions of Canadians to participate in one day. All sitting on the bus, trains, planes, ferries, wherever they can. What are they going to do? Give out millions of fines? Go for it. What happens? The court's overloaded and within 24 hours and the vaccine passport no longer exists because Canada stood up as a country and told them to go pound sand. That's how easy it is. So do that at the restaurant. Cause confrontation. If the cops come and they don't even give you a fine and they force you to leave, you know what you do to that restaurant? And they deserve it because they're no different than the Nazi collaborators that said, oh, I'm just doing my job. Okay? Because what they're doing is they're helping impose tyranny, they're helping impose slavery, and they're doing it to the people who kept them open the last 18 months. Think about that. Yes, these people that are double jabbed now that have the vaccine passport are the same people that was screaming for the government to shut your business down because they wanted to be safe. And the only reason you're still in business is because the people like us chose not to stay home and go to your business. And now you're stabbing us in the back and catering to the people that already sold you out. So you deserve what I'm about to say happening to you. If you go to a restaurant and they want to be dicks and they call the police on you because you want to sit down and eat, because think about that for a second. What are the chances if they actually just let you in? Like you showed that little Braveheart thing on your phone and they giggle and they let you in. What are the chances of a public safety official showing up at that restaurant at the exact time when you happen to be there and saying, I think we have a violator in here. And they go around the restaurant and search everybody's papers until they find you. You have a better chance of winning the lottery. So for any business that tries to impose this tyranny on you, you deserve this. Take down the business name, go back, go in a group chat, say, call the group chat, screw, and then the business name. Add 20 people to the group chat. Every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, all 20 people make reservations at that restaurant. And then half hour before you're supposed to show up, call the restaurant and say, oh, this is Smith, party of 5 for 7:30. And they're like, we just heard that you have the vaccine passport policy in play. And the restaurant, well, yes, we do. And then you say, oh, well, one of my people of the 5 does not have that passport. Is that going to be a problem? And the restaurant will start off by saying yes. But when it happens 50, 60, 70, 80 times, they're not going to want to say yes anymore because they're going to be more afraid of you than they are of the government. And they should be, because there's more of you in the government and you can do a lot worse to that. What can the government do? We saw what the government did to the pub in Kingston. They suspended their liquor license. And they lie in the media and said they revoked it. No. Revoked is completely different. Suspended means you're going to go to court and you're going to win. And they just friggin' tried to make an example of you. And in the meantime, what's stopping you from still going, declaring that you're not going to enforce the Vax Pass, charging a corking fee for wine and a 6-pack fee for beer or coolers? As soon as you post on the internet that you're fighting against the government in this Vax Pass, your business will double or triple, if not more. I've seen it with every single business that stands up, the community stands behind them. That's that simple. The other thing they can do is suspend your business license. Notice how they can only suspend all these things, not take them. And you know what happens if you get a suspended business license? Once again, you'll go to court and you'll win. The worst they can do to you is a $100 a day fine. You don't think you'll be able to keep your business operating with the extra $100 by telling the patriots around your neighborhood that they're giving you a fine of $100 a day? Hell, in one day I'll bring you $10,000 worth of business. That'll pay your fines for the next 3 months, and by then we might actually win. That's how we beat this, ladies and gentlemen. And just like the other fines, if all the business owners stand up and take those fines, they're gonna bunch up in the court just like every other fine. And answer me one question honestly. Do any of you even know anyone that has paid any of these fines? Anybody? I'm sure all of you know people that got them. I've gotten like $100,000 worth of them. But how many of you know someone that's actually paid one after they fought it in court? There you go. And on that note, I want to ask another very good question. Watch this. This one's very scary. How many of you know someone who was killed or seriously injured by COVID-19? Put up your hand. Look at that. Everybody look around. Look at all those scary COVID deaths. And these are the people that should have the most COVID deaths because we don't follow any of the protocols. We're not social distancing. Well, I am. You're not social distancing. You're not wearing masks or any of that, etc. So why don't we have all these COVID deaths? Now check this out. It's like magic. Watch how truth reveals. How many of you know someone who was killed or seriously injured by one of these so-called COVID vaccines? Put up your hand. But it's a pandemic of the unvaccinated. If I was wrong, places that already are on their third jab should have the highest rates of infection. Look at Israel. Israel is on their third jab. 1 million of their residents are about to lose their fully vaccinated status this week if they don't go back in and get their third jab. Many have already had it. They now have the highest per capita rate of infection in the entire world. So what does that tell you? More vaccines, more infections. Now let's look at a country like Norway. They just ended all mandates, all restrictions. They don't have a lot of vaccinations. And since they did that, their COVID infections are now down almost 60%. Look at a country like Japan. No mandated masks, no mandated business closure or lockdowns. Right beside China, the highest population density in the world in Tokyo, and a third of their population over 60. With almost 5 times as many people and none of those restrictions, they have less than half the COVID deaths than we have in Canada. So how does that make any sense? Is our restrictions helping or they're hurting? They're helping the government and they're hurting every single one of us. They definitely help Big Pharma and they definitely help the government, but they definitely don't help us. And it's only going to get worse if we don't stop it here. I warned everybody over almost a year and a half ago. The vaccine passport was like step 10. And we couldn't go from step 1 to 10. It all started with, oh, it's just a mask. And then they called me an anti-masker when I said, don't wear the mask, not because I'm an anti-masker, but because the mask is just to get you to the next step, and the next step, and the next step. And they want to call me anti-vax now. I'm not anti-vax. The majority of people that I'm talking to are vaccinated. We are pro-choice. But Trudeau can't go around in his press conference and say he's anti-freedom, so he needs to mischaracterize all his opposition as anti-vax. Do you think that there's not one person that's vaccinated in Canada that doesn't like Trudeau? Or do you think the majority of people that don't like Trudeau are vaccinated because the majority of people are vaccinated? Just makes sense. So these are the kind of word tricks they play. Did Trudeau get crowds like this when he showed up, or did he have to switch? Did he have to switch spots every 30 minutes till he found out it was safe, and then still had rocks thrown at him? Does that sound like a leader, or does that sound like somebody who's trying to control a group of people who are ready to fight back? Yeah, I can't even use that word. The dictator. I reserve that for people who've actually had power. Trudeau is more like a dictator. You know, like one of those potatoes in the shape of a dick? That's what he reminds me of. Dictator Todd, I like that. But ladies and gentlemen, you have clear direction. Everybody here needs to A, get one of these shirts, and B, you need to wear this shirt, and next Saturday, you need to wear this shirt to London, and you need to bring at least one other person with you. That's why I brought these shirts, because I want to bring hundreds of people from the surrounding cities. We need to show a number so big there and show so much solidarity with our law enforcement that it doesn't just reverberate in Ontario. It doesn't just reverberate in the other provinces, but it's seen around the world. You have to understand, Canada is a beacon of light around the world. That's why they're coming for us fastest and hardest. Australia is just an island testing ground. They don't even count. It's an old penal colony. But over here, we are seen as the light of the world, of the free world. Everybody, if you go traveling before COVID, as soon as you told people you're from Canada, they would smile. Oh my God, Canada's such a wonderful country. They're not doing that anymore. And it's only going to get worse. And they know that if they can break Canada's spirit, if they can crush us here, the rest of the Commonwealth countries will fall. And they will win. But when we win, when we get our freedom back, Canada will be an example of freedom for the rest of the world. Mark my words, ladies and gentlemen. We have the plans, we have the people, we have the willpower. Canada may not have been brought up on fighting like the United States was. We were brought up on tea and crumpets, unfortunately. And that shows in our population. It's not an accident that over here we're all locked down and places like Florida and Texas are wide open. You can go to Florida and a little 4-year-old girl or an 85-year-old grandmother will be walking around masked and fear-free. Meanwhile, if you go to the city of Toronto, our so-called 35-year-old men will put on their face diaper before they can walk into their Loblaws and get their vegan soy products. And that is why they're being controlled, because they're weak, and they're passive, and they're ignorant and naive. That's what Canadians are, ignorant and naive. You know what that really means? You know when they call you guys nice, and they say Canadians are the nicest people in the world? Google the word nice and say nice, origin. It'll come up as Latin, from ignorant and naive, meaning you're stupid and easy to take advantage of. That's what they want in a Canadian population. That's what they preach to the rest of the world. And all Canadians walk around, we're the nicest people in the world. And the government's like, you fucking idiots. Sorry, I didn't mean to swear, but sometimes it just comes out. But ladies and gentlemen, we know what we need to do. I want to see everybody in London on the 16th. I want to see everybody on their social media talking about London, talking about October 30th, the Rosa Parks Challenge, talking about November 6th, the airport convoy, and we need to make noise all around the country so we get the involvement we need to stop this dead in its tracks. Because if we don't stop it now, not only are you going to be a prisoner in Canada, not only are you going to be a prisoner in your province, they're going to put the checkpoints between the regions, and you're not even going to be able to visit your family and friends. And then they're going to start going door to door like they're doing in Australia. And by then, ladies and gentlemen, you've already failed your children, you've already failed your country. And I'm not someone who's going to do that. I could have ran away. I had the paperwork ready to go to Mexico. I had a job waiting for me, everything waiting for me. But I knew if I went there, they wouldn't let me back. I knew if I went there, that's what the government wanted, to eliminate me from this fight. So I decided, there's no way in hell I'm leaving. I'm digging in, and I'm staying here to the end until we raise our hands in victory. And we claim Canada back for us. Thank you, everybody. I love you. I will hang out over here. You can come